I don't always drink beer, but when I do, I prefer Cosmere Chronicles, the podcast where we follow two first-time readers, Justin and Sheta, and we chronicle their journey through Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere series. On today's episode, we'll be chronicling the Stormlight Archive, Words of Radiance, chapters 44 through 46. So now, let's throw it over to the most interesting man in the world and the host of this podcast. This is Joe! Thank you, Joe. Welcome, everyone. Cosmere Chronicles. We're all here today. My name's Joe, and I'm joined by Justin and Sheta.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. I'm here too.
Yep. That's the show, Cosmere Chronicles. And if you haven't figured it out, I don't make openings. This stuff is always just off the top of my head.
No.
I don't like it being super scripted.
I just cannot believe that. That can't be true.
Let's just start off with our random question. Now, this week, I thought of something. I thought it might be fun to try out, so it's going to be a little bit different.
Oh, God.
Well, what we're going to do, I'm going to go through just different comic book superheroes, and you guys can just say who you feel is their number one villain. Most of them will probably have an easy consensus number one. But I do feel like there might be some of them where there could be an argument made for, one or two or three different people that could be their main villain.
Mm-hmm.
I just watched Spider-Man No Way Home again, so we'll start with Marvel. And we'll start with let's just go with Spider-Man. Start with
Well, it's gotta be, I don't know why, but I always feel like Hobgoblin is
Hobgoblin? Is that just because of the cartoon show?
probably. I always feel like when I see him fighting a villain, it's Hobgoblin.
What?
Hobgoblin has been in 0 movies, though.
Yeah, but I guess this is that's why I'm picking a comic, because I don't know. That's just what I always see.
You're thinking of the cartoon show, specifically, where he fought Hobgoblin all the
90s
time.
Cartoon.
Maybe, okay, how about just some kind of goblin?
A goblin. Okay.
A goblin, yeah.
No specific goblin. You wouldn't put it on one of the people to carry a goblin mantle more?
Yeah, it's just I think, I would split it between all the goblins.
All the goblins?
I think it's pretty random that he fights goblins. When I first read Spider-Man stuff. Yeah, but why a goblin? He's a Spider-Man.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense especially when all his other villains are animals and then a goblin jumps in.
Yeah, I thought that was the weirdest thing about Spider-Man.
All goblins are not created equally. Don't put Gray Goblin up there with those other ones. Fucking hate the Gray Goblin.
It is funny to me that they want to capitalize on Green Goblin's success so much that there's 500 goblins added in eventually.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember.
They keep adding them.
Green Goblin, Hobgoblin, Gray Goblin, Demo Goblin. There was that one story arc with Red Goblin, but that was still Norman with the
Gold Goblin, symbiote. Even though I think that was a good guy one.
I don't remember Gold.
That's a very new one. I've never read it. I just know of it.
There was the Goblin Knight. That was still Phil Urich.
Kissing goblins.
Yeah, Alex Jones quote.
Yeah.
All right, Justin, who would you say Spider-Man's main villain
that's
is?
Tough. Obviously, to me, it's going to be between Green Goblin specifically, though I do like the old All Goblin's answer, and Dr. Octopus. It's very tough. I think, okay, so how I think of it is Norman wants to be his main enemy, and he basically is, but I think Doc Ock is his main enemy, because I just feel like the way they fight each other, it's such a one-sided fixation from Green Goblin, I feel, on Peter, where Doc Ock feels more like an organic main villain, so I'm going to go with him.
And I'm going to probably go with Green Goblin, as long as it's an Osborn, whether it's Norman or Harry. Dr. Octopus is a close second, and Norman, there was a good 20 years where he was dead, but Harry did fill in some of the role there. But so many great emotional moments with that, the whole first Goblin stuff going up until death of Gwen Stacy, Norman Osborn's death. Then when Harry first learns about it and his first Goblin stuff, Harry, his death, Norman returning at the end of the Clone Wars, all sorts of stuff. And even in Superior Spider-Man, when it's not even like Peter, it's the end of that winds up being a whole war against Norman Osborn. All right, next this one I'm gonna assume will be easier. X-Men.
Bigotry.
Humans.
No, I'm gonna go with Magneto. Magneto is one of the greatest villains in comics, and he's, the way they have him tied to Charles Xavier and what he represents, where the X-Men want to bridge that piece, but Magneto just wants to destroy it because he believes it's destroyed. It's got to be Magneto.
Yeah, because it's a fight of ideology at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that puts it. Yeah, though he does team up with them a lot, so you could argue that.
If the Brotherhood didn't really like get in the way, I think they would succeed and stuff.
I don't. I think the X-Men are doomed no matter what. Because you could make the argument that just Sentinels alone are their greatest enemy.
Yeah, but I don't know. You could say that the Brotherhood kind of ruining the trust between humans and mutants made something like that more likely to happen.
Yeah.
Yep, and I will also say Magneto. I mean, you just need to look at the X-Men movies. Well, I've never seen Dark Phoenix. All the other X-Men movies, the final boss of all the other X-Men movies is Magneto. X-Men, X-Men 2, X-Men 3, X-Men Origins, Days of Futures Past, even Apocalypse. The final boss is always Magneto.
You don't need to remind me about Apocalypse.
Yeah. I'm going to say Wolverine, because Wolverine, whenever he shows up, he takes over the X-Men.
for stealing the entire franchise, Wolverine.
Yep.
I don't know, like, I've read plenty of X-Men comics where he's there and he's just another member. I mean,
yeah, in comics,
Joss Whedon's
but in adaptations, he's pretty much stolen the franchise for himself.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we're staying with comics for the main villains, because next we'll go the Avengers. I'm just gonna say it's Ultron. I haven't read all of Avengers. I've read about 230-ish, 250-ish issues. It went up to Secret Wars was where I took a break. But Ultron tend to be the biggest villain, the one who comes back and stuff. Second would probably be Kang, but typically
you
Ultron.
Can't say seconds.
Yeah, you have to leave some for us. You can't just say goblins and then take it off.
That was you.
I like King too, because I think that I just like a villain that can kind of get the Avengers on all fronts and stuff. If that makes sense, because he's, I think, maybe the strongest threat.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I am also between Kang and Ultron. It's hard to decide. I think for iconicness, I'm going to go with Ultron, because he's so tied to them. He's so tied to their origin. Where Kang is kind of even though he's mainly an Avengers villain, he does fight a lot of other heroes too, like the Fantastic Four and stuff. So I think I'm going to lean towards Ultron, even though I think Kang should be the Avengers' main threat, because of what you're saying, Sheta. But I'm going to side with Ultron there.
I also like Ultron because it gives the whole big emotional connection with Hank Pym.
Well, he's great. He's incredibly dangerous. He's the antithesis of everything they fight for, which is humanity.
And people who have never read comics will probably be surprised that none of us said Thanos. But that's because he's not an Avengers villain. He'd be mostly Adam Warlock, maybe Captain Marvel.
I'd just call him a universe level villain.
Not everyone showed up.
It's not like with Doctor Doom where he fights everyone, but we all know he's a Fantastic Four villain.
All right, let's go with one that could be interesting debate. Daredevil. That's
a good.
Well, it's just, oh my gosh, I almost said something stupid.
Stiltman. Definitely Stiltman. I'm just going to be pretty basic. I'm going to go with Bullseye because I think with his, not power set, but the way he fights and killing Elektra and just I think they're so good at fighting each other.
Spoilers,
Like
Justin.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
spoilers.
How can you say that?
He's designed to fight Daredevil specifically, and I think that his psychotic temperament really is fun for challenging him. So that's my pick. Pretty simple, pretty basic. Second would of course be Stiltman, but
Lady Stiltman.
no, I'm not willing to go that far.
Could I say Elektra? Because I always thought Daredevil was very an emotional character and that Elektra would hit him where it hurts his heart.
Just by existing?
Well, like the drama. I'm
Well,
just trying to be extra.
You just don't want to say
it's
Bullseye?
Daredevil.
Yeah, if not, yeah, then just Bullseye.
It is Daredevil. Pretty much all his love interest. It always goes horribly wrong.
Yeah. He's
So
very
love
romantic.
is Sheta's answer.
Yeah. Romantic love specifically. But some of his like love for his father and mentors and things too.
I might go with maybe Kingpin. That one's hard because Kingpin didn't really start becoming a Daredevil villain until the 80s. Before that, Kingpin was pretty much only going up against Spider-Man. In the 80s, the writers there started bringing him more connected to Daredevil. And then since then, he's become very connected to Daredevil. And you see him all the time there.
Yeah, that was the tough one to pick him or Bullseye.
Okay, let's go with the Incredible Hulk.
Leader.
Yeah, leader.
I think the leader's I mean, he's one of my favorite villains, so I'm a little biased there too, but I just think the brains versus bronze thing is too easy and specific to do.
Mm-hmm. I like villains that have a poetic relationship with the characters, like what they are.
Mm-hmm. That's why you didn't like the goblins.
Yeah, I do like randomness too. For in superhero comics, the randomness is very fun to me, or very charming.
And with me, I'm gonna go with Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah, good one.
But not the Red Hulk shit. I don't like him being Red Hulk. Just when he was a human general, because you have him always going after the Hulk. You have the emotional connection because he's the father of person who Bruce Banner's in love with, and yeah, it's sometimes they're allies, but then eventually like he goes after Hulk again, and then in World War Hulk 2, in the middle of that, you have him show up again. Like that was the end of an issue was, oh shit, General Ross is here now to try to take him down after we've already seen like all the superheroes fail.
I love Red Hulk, but I hated him being revealed to be General Ross. I hated it so much.
I did like the second Red Hulk, the one that was with the like US Avengers.
He was fine too. But I loved the personality of Red Hulk before they revealed that he should not have that personality.
Plus,
that seems like a bummer.
Yeah, it's to me that really ruined Red Hulk and General Ross because I like General Ross not being a superpower thing.
Mm-hmm. Ugh, that's probably one of my biggest pet peeves. You just lose. It's a lose-lose. Like you didn't gain anything from that, so I don't know why you would make those choices.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed really random. Wasn't it like it was a big mystery and like it just felt random that they picked him?
Mm-hmm. They gave you the dumbest red herring. They show General Ross standing over Red Hulk's body. So you're like, well, it's obviously not him. Oh no, that was just a life model decoy. How did you not see that coming?
No. You should not use life model decoys so flippantly.
Yes.
That's a flimsy.
Unless you're Nick Fury.
That's different. That's his thing.
Yeah. That's his powers.
But let's just go on to back to Brandon Sanderson. First with a recap of last week's chapters. This time, I know for a fact it is Sheta.
Why do you know for a fact when it's me, but not when it's Justin? Okay. So I think we flash back to her, Shallan, and her family, right? And they're doing or we just get a sense of the family dynamic, how her dad was. Um, we finally kind of see how he was a bad father and like how he treated his kids, and how he is placed in the in their society, like how they were broke, but he pretended not to be broke, and they all suffered for it. Um, Also, a little bit about her Shallan's brother who had left the family, like was fed up with her dad and stuff like that. Her older brother, and then let's see, gosh, then don't we get a flashback or flash forward of Shallan trying to get in with the Ghost Bloods, or did I miss a
Yeah, in
part?
the present, she met the Ghost Bloods.
Okay, she met the Ghost Bloods. She's tried to ask a street vendor to break 100, and did a bad job blending in. She met the Ghost Bloods. Is maybe going to do some work for them. Is followed and then uses her powers to kind of uh, Roadrunner hide from I thought someone who came to like follow her after she left the Ghost Bloods. And then Kaladin is, let's see, kind of investigating the group, like trying to figure out like was someone in my group or Moash basically trying to was he responsible for the attempt on the king's life? And Raiden? No, Renarin asks Kaladin if he can join Bridge 4 because he wants to be tough and a fighter, just like his father and brother. And then, yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, good enough. We else, we did meet like Polona and learned a little bit more about Sabarial, but overall hit the high points. All right, so this week we read 3 chapters 44 through 46. So as typical, what'd you guys think of those chapters this week?
I thought they were very fun. Specifically, I really enjoy kind of slice of life stuff. So
I didn't expect to have any specific feelings about these chapters, but the very end, especially the Shallan flashback stuff, made me incredibly intrigued in what was happening. So basically the exact opposite of you. I don't give a fuck about the slice of life stuff, but the lore dump stuff and the mythology stuff super intrigues me.
Yeah, that Shallan chapter is I really like it. I think that's a great chapter. All right. But now let's just go into chapters. Starting with chapter 44, One Form of Justice. Epigraph. But as for the bondsmiths, they had members only 3, which number was not uncommon for them, nor did they seek to increase this by great bounds, for during the times of Madassa, only one of their order was in continual accompaniment of Urithiru and its thrones. Their sprend was understood to be specific, and to persuade them to grow to the magnitude of the other orders was seen as seditious.
These epigraphs do not sound as fun and quick for you to read as the previous ones did, with their kind of wannabe prestigious writing style.
more poetic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would also probably be easier if I practiced, but it's always these things is like, all right, just copy paste onto my notes. Now just read it, and it's the rest of my notes. I do get tongue tied at times, but I can normally read them because they're in my voice. But these ones, it's so different that if I practiced 1 or 2 times before instead of just doing that on the fly, it'd probably go better.
I really like the epigraphs as a kind of world building tool to flesh out some of these things we're interested in without having to go into it in detail. So when I assume later on this stuff becomes more relevant, we'll have a nice baseline for it already.
Yeah. I've never really read a book that did that kind of thing, so I think it's interesting. Especially in the other books with the epigraphs having huge clues and stuff in them was a really fun change or a surprise, a scary surprise.
To have them be plot relevant instead of just being for fun.
Even world relevant, or having me be part of the words being changed and stuff as I read them. I thought that was really fun. So
I know you said people in other podcasts do it, but it sounds so horrifying to realize that while reading those.
yeah, yeah. I I have to start making time to read it, read the actual book and see that too, because sometimes when things are capitalized or like changed like that, you can only get it from reading
Mm-hmm.
the actual book and stuff. Get the full experience.
Yeah, and like I know with epigraphs, like so many times when I read books that have epigraphs, it's more like quotes from real life things that kind of give you an idea of the themes. I think the only other thing besides Brandon that I can think of off the top of my head well, no, I can think of two where it had like epigraphs that kind of hint at what might be coming in the future would be Dune did it, and also more recently the from the Michael J. Sullivan fantasy stuff, the Legends of the First Empire, that whole book series had epigraphs as well. All right, but here we go. So Kaladin, he's feeling out of place in the Light Eyes training grounds. He's here to begin his training with Zahel, and he's also brought along Moash, Teft, and Yake. Renarn's with them, and he asks if he can be relieved of duty for the day so that way he can do his own training, and Kaladin nods. And Zahel, he's currently in the middle of playing a game. He's drawn like a circle in the sand, and he's throwing different colored stones into it. But none of them recognize the game. Zahel tells Kaladin, all right, we're starting. You're going to have to do 40 laps around. But when Kaladin will be about to do it, he stops him because that was just a test to see how willing Kaladin would be to obey. And Zahel says that Kaladin has some red on his ears, like Zahel has never seen before. And that line just confuses Kaladin. And Zahel once again complains about this stupid language. So Zahel leaves them to go over to Renarin, and he gets Renarin to, wearing his full shard plate, sitting down at a table and trying to eat lunch while wearing the shard plate. He's doing this in order to get him used to being delicate with all his newfound strength.
I imagine Renarin eating with chopsticks in shard plate to practice dexterity.
Like just the most difficult utensil?
Yeah, just like very, you have to be precise with your movements.
Honestly, I don't know. I think chopsticks may be easier to use in there than a frickin' fork or whatever, because at least those, I don't know. It just seems
Chopsticks
hard
are
to
hard.
grip that. Yeah, it is. But in the plate, it seems really difficult to grip that teeny little thing in that specific way. I guess you could stab it like a knife, maybe.
And other stuff I was thinking of is like, sitting there in that, and it just made me think like, Iron Man and Hulkbuster armor just sitting down at a table and like trying to pick up like just a small like wine glass without shattering it.
Yeah.
And Zahel brings a shard blade over to Kaladin and his men, and he stabs it into the ground. And he tells the men, all right, try it out. And Syl stares at the blade. Teft moved to touch it, but Moash, seizes the sword first. And he's saying, oh, this is heavier than I expected. They always say it'd be light. But that's mainly because people who use this, they're used to using swords, so they expect it to be heavier. And then next, Yake is trying it out. Zahel says that, it's just silly that lowborn are not allowed to use a sword. There's nothing holy about swords. Kaladin notes that, as an ardent, Zahel should try better to uphold Vornism and traditions. But Zahel says that he's not a very good ardent, but he is an excellent swordsman. And Zahel tells Kaladin to take the sword, and Syl stares at him sharply. Kaladin says that he'd rather not touch it. He just needs to learn how to defend against it. So he tells Zahel to, all right, try swinging the sword at me. Don't put a guard on it. I need to be afraid when it comes at me. And Syl thanks Kaladin for not grabbing the sword. So Zahel comes at Kaladin with the blade, a couple times, but Kaladin's able to dodge. And then Kaladin, he winds up coming up to Adolin, who's standing right behind him. And Adolin doesn't say anything. He just gives Kaladin a nod and leaves. So Zahel, he goes back over to Renarin to continue his training, and he has a woman ardent named Ibis start going through some sparring moves and forms with the men. An hour later, Kaladin goes to get some water, and he notices that Shallan has entered the training grounds. He doesn't bear a grudge against her for the boots thing. That was simply just showing that Light Eyes regard men like Kaladin as playthings. She wasn't evil, she just didn't care. And Yake has come over, and he says, not bad looking. And Syl nods emphatically.
Still really wanting Kaladin to get laid, I think. She's like, you need to mellow out, man.
I know why you're so stuffy. You gotta chill and maybe get some.
Mm-hmm.
And Kaladin, he responds to Yake saying, no, she's light-eyed. And lighted woman cannot be attractive.
Jeez, Kaladin. I didn't know you were like that.
I did. He's not hidden that across this whole book.
I knew he thought that about, like, Bright Lords and things like that, and, like, people who he dealt with. I didn't think he'd think that just that applied to women as well in beauty.
Well, even his childhood friend who he had a crush on, Laurel, she eventually, whether or not she really had much choice in the matter, she kind of turned on him too.
She had choice.
I get it. I just, like, I didn't think he'd think like that far.
I'm sorry, Sheta, but not that long ago, weren't you saying, God damn it, Kaladin, I just want you to kill all the light eyes?
What?
Like, you were
No, I didn't.
annoyed, you were mad that he was, like, even learning to, like, forgive or tell Dalinar what was going on instead of just hunting down Amaram himself.
I don't remember. Oh, it was. You mean like, complaining to Dalinar and stuff like that?
Yes, complaining. The word I would have used.
Telling on Thaddeus.
Yes,
to
telling on him.
Amaram.
What a little snitch.
He hit me.
Don't say this.
Friend.
You're gonna get yourself fucking killed, Sheta. In comments. She does not mean this, folks. She's trying to piss you off.
Just hating soldiers is different from thinking that all women like that who aren't attractive because of that and stuff. Just seems very extra racist. That's all.
Well, also, to be fair, his very first interaction with Shallan was her kind of treating him below, pretty low and stealing his boots just because she could.
Yeah, that wasn't very good or very positive.
It's not a good first impression. Yep, and so after Kaladin gets the idea that Shallan could be trying to hook up with Adolin in order to kill him, he begins walking over towards Shallan, and Adolin comes up to him. Kaladin asks, what's she doing here? And Adolin says that, well, she's probably here to watch me spar. Girls want to gawk at me while I fight. But we still need to kick her out. We can't set a bad precedent. And Kaladin asks if he really wants to be betrothed to a woman he'd never met. Adolin says that things always go well at first, but then they just fall apart. He can't figure out why. So maybe something formal like this could, Then Adolin realizes he's talking to Kaladin and just stops in.
It's so funny to me how much they naturally just want to be good friends.
Yeah. Cute. Talking about girl problems.
So Adolin, he walks over and he's walking towards Shallan, but she just winds up walking right past him. And Kaladin sort of laughs at him, and Adolin once again goes after Shallan, and she's talking to an Ardent here about stuff. And when she sees him, she's like, oh, Adolin, I didn't notice you. And she's here to update the royal record of shard plate and shard blades in the war camp, because those are pretty out of date. Adolin's like, oh, well, you probably need me to pose for you. But she responds that his plate and blade actually have complete sketches thanks to his mother. And Adolin says, you're just really here to watch me spar. And she responds that he has a high opinion of himself. And then she sees Kaladin and tells him that his boots are being sent back to him. And that they were uncomfortable, so she even resold him, which upsets Kaladin because he liked the boots. And Adolin's just shocked that she wore Kaladin's boots. And she tells Adolin that if he really wants a sketch, then she will do one for him. There's no reason to be jealous. And she also reminds him that she still wants that walk that he had promised. And then she leaves to go sketch Renarin.
I find it very funny here how much she acts like she doesn't care. Adolin kind of likes it, but we know from her own chapters that this is all fake. This is just her, like she's desperate to marry this guy.
Yeah, this is her game plan.
Mm-hmm. It's really interesting to see that from outside of her head after it reveals to us, with no real hint that she's specifically trying to court and attract him.
I really enjoy Shallan outside of her own chapters.
Yeah.
It makes me, it just makes me appreciate her more.
Adolin calls her insufferable. And then he tells Kaladin to stop leering at her backside. And Adolin, he also smiles and says that she all but ignored him.
No one's ever ignored me before. That's how you get boys to like you.
So you get Adolin too. He likes a challenge, I think.
Yeah, seems like it.
And so after Adolin leaves, Moash comes over to Kaladin and says that it was the king. He had his family executed.
Yeah, that was fucking sudden. Jesus. I had to reread that.
Moash is funny.
It's like, Jesus, Moash.
Why are you saying that right here?
Yeah, trying to look at a backside, and then you come up and say, it was the king.
Yeah, and Kaladin's shocked to realize that Moash is telling him that the person that he wants to kill is the king. And Moash says that they're Bridge 4 and they stick together. So
I'm mad. I'm like, don't you pull that Bridge 4 shit on me here, Moash. Jesus.
So Moash goes on to explain the whole situation. His parents died when he was young and he was raised by his grandparents. When he got older, Moash, he was away working down a caravan. His grandparents were silversmiths, but there was a Light Eyes that did not like the competition. At this time, Gavilar was still the king, but he was away in the plains, so Elhokar was running things in his stead back at home. The Light Eye silversmith was friends with Elhokar, and Elhokar decided to do him a favor and locked up Moash's grandparents. They were important enough, though, to request an inquest, but Elhokar pled a lack of time and just left them in the dungeons, where they died a few months later. Kaladin says, well, that's not the same as killing them, but Moash, he responds saying that sending a 75-year-old couple to the dungeons is a death sentence. Elhokar knew that they would die there. So Kaladin asks Moash if he was the one who cut the railing. And Moash says, we shouldn't talk about this here.
Oh, we shouldn't talk about this here.
Now we can't.
Gee, come on, man.
You brought it up.
Well, the rest of this is public record.
Yeah, public record. I want to kill the king is a good thing to say while in the king's camp.
And Kaladin responds that they are hired to protect the man. But Moash says their job is to protect Dalinar. And he doesn't seem too bad for a Light Eyes. In fact, this kingdom would be better off if he were king instead. Kaladin says that I can't let this go, and Moash asks if he would turn on a member of Bridge 4.
I said this is why Elhokar's a fucking moron for allowing these guys to watch over him.
Kaladin says they won't turn on him if Moash agrees to stop. Moash asks, well, what else can I do? What justice can a man like me get on a king? And Moash agrees to stop for now, as long as Kaladin agrees to meet with someone. This plan, it wasn't Moash's plan, and he wants Kaladin to listen to them. Just go listen to what they have to say, and if Kaladin at that point tells Moash to back out, then he will. And Kaladin agrees.
I think it's really funny to tell someone to stop trying to kill somebody. It's like we quit doing this bad thing, but it's we quit trying to assassinate the king.
Stop trying to assassinate heads of state.
Fine, but you have to do this for me.
I was real mad at Moash here for putting him in this position. Oh my god. I thought Moash was smarter than apparently he is. Because not only was that a stupid... I don't know. He just seemed like he was more competent.
Oh, he was definitely a meathead.
Yeah. That was such a stupid plan. All the clues led directly back to him, and he doesn't even seem to realize how obvious it is that they do. Like he's like, shh, we can't talk about this. It's like everyone already knows. Anyone who thought about it would be able to put it together that you were involved. You're lucky the king is an idiot.
So after Moash leaves, Syl comes over and asks Kaladin what he just did. And Kaladin says that he needs to follow through on this. If someone's trying to kill the king, then it's his job to investigate. But Syl says that she felt something. She says this is dangerous and they should go to Dalinar. Kaladin says that he can't go to Dalinar until he knows more.
Kaladin's deluding himself here to say, oh, I'm only looking into this because, it's the safest thing to do. My ass.
Yep. So backfire on him.
You're intrigued. You'd love to kill the king. Now I know why they've been pointing out how much he doesn't respect the king in every single chapter where the king's in there.
It is interesting because he's like, he trusts only Dalinar, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it, So it still will align with his values if they kill the king,
Mm-hmm.
So Kaladin, he goes back to training and running through some of the forms. But while he's doing this, thinking about how, training here on this ground, this is his right. He had defeated a shard bearer. And he asks Sil that since she's an honor friend, she can tell him the right thing to do, correct? And she's like, absolutely.
I love that. Absolutely. And then she cannot offer any useful advice if you ask her a complex question of any kind.
Yeah, he asks if it's wrong for Moash to kill the king, and she says, of course. But Kaladin asks about the Parshendi that he killed. And if one of them was a Surge Binder with their own honor spren, but Sil says, no, they can't become Surge Binders. But Kaladin tells her, all right, just pretend. He explains that the Parshendi, they just want to survive. The ones involved in Gavilar's death might not even be alive anymore. I mean, their leaders had been executed in Alethkar. So if there was a Parshendi that was protecting their own people, what would their honor spren say? Sil says that it doesn't matter because Kaladin said that he won't kill the Parshendi anymore. Kaladin asks about killing Amaram, and she asks, well, is that justice? And he says, it's one form of it. But she says that there's a difference because of what it does to Kaladin. Thinking about Amaram twists and changes Kaladin. He's supposed to protect, not kill. But Kaladin says that you need to kill to protect, and that Sil is starting to sound like his father. And Zahel comes over to Kaladin, and Kaladin's a little upset because he figured he would have figured out this blade stuff like almost immediately. And Kaladin, he tells Zahel about how Dalinar had been able to catch that shard blade in the air above his head. And Zahel's just like, Dalinar pulled off a last clap. And he goes on to explain that it's a stupid maneuver, and that it usually fails, and when it fails, then you die. And that's the end of the chapter.
Sorry, but I had to think that a last clap was the last STD you ever got.
What the? You had to think that?
The last clap. Sorry. It's very cool. I'm sorry for saying that.
Anything else in this chapter?
Completely made me lose any train of thought I had.
I'm sorry. Oh, I had a fun. I thought that thing was cute. I thought it was very cute that Tef liked Zahel because they're the same person basically.
Curmudgeonly old guy.
Yeah, Kaladin's like, that's because you guys are the same. Like, I like him. They basically sound the same in the audiobook too. So it's funny. I had wondered if they were the same person, actually.
Oh no, that'd be so stupid.
Because you're like, where were you, Zahel? Or Pep? And it's like, I wasn't training the princess or anything. Like,
So what? Zahel just throws on a robe and nobody recognizes him?
Of course, he uses some
Pep
kind
just
of
throws on a
magic to change his looks.
If he had magic, why was he in a bridge crew?
Because he's undercover.
Yeah, Joe. Duh.
He's deep undercover. He's also doing some personal penance for something. And then, but he also still has to report every now and then
Sheta,
to train princes and stuff.
Just stop.
I already canned this.
On this. You already, what?
I already canned this theory, that's why.
Yeah.
Well, the original theory was that he was a herald.
Yeah, I also thought that. I still think that about Seth. But maybe more like a Radiant, ex-Radiant now.
It's been thousands of years.
Yeah,
Radiance.
Yeah, so? We don't know what kind of magics there are.
They can heal themselves. And it can heal their souls, too.
We don't know anything. You could be like, oh, they can't walk on walls. That's not possible. That's about the same level as that. Unless they explicitly tell us that you can't. I mean, we know that this guy they found does not look like a 5 billion-year-old man.
Yeah, we already have a magical person.
Now, I don't agree with you, Sheta. I think that's wrong, but
what?
I don't believe he's either of those things, but I really like Sil's childlike, simplistic idea of what honor and justice is, but there's also a wisdom to it, because overthinking those things like Kaladin is also just kind of an excuse to do whatever things you want to do and then call it honor or call it righteous, even if it's, would be debatable whether it is or not. So I find that to be a very interesting dynamic between those two.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this chapter was called One Form of Justice. Why do you believe that was chosen for the chapter title?
Kaladin says that
He does, in
he
fact, say that.
he thinks that he's already splitting his mind a bit about maybe the words, the words of radiance. So not fully agreeing with what they mean.
Mm-hmm. Yep, what I was saying about him and Sel.
Mm-hmm. No,
Kaladin saying that that's one form of justice, which is what
yeah,
he
that's
just
when he
said.
said that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Him
one form
using
of
that
justice.
as an excuse, to say that is okay too. Even though Sel's like, "Ugh, no.
No, Kaladin, you're gonna lose your powers.
Yeah, I think he's going to wind up going too far and losing his powers for theories.
Mm-hmm. And then he'll finally tell Dalinar his powers. They can't do it. I
Not like that.
promise, I have powers.
No, I think it's going to
Oh
be at
yeah.
a really horrible moment when, like, he goes through with something that is not justice in that way. It is not protecting in that way, but he justifies it as it. He loses his powers, and then Zeph attacks and kills Dalinar. And it's going to be horrific. Or Adolin, even. That would be worse.
No. No,
Mhm.
it
Now,
can't be Adolin.
what about Syl?
Well, of
I think she's
course.
going to disappear.
Yeah, he
Because
goes with his powers for it.
Yeah,
For sure.
she's just going to
Yeah.
disappear. He won't know where she is. He won't be able to talk with her.
Oh, that will be
well,
so
the
sad.
Stormfather did say that he's going to kill her, and he's already begun it.
That's not what I think is going to happen. I think you kill the Spren by connecting to them, and they die from being what they are and become something else, or they get tied to your mortality and then die when you die. One of the two. I don't think that's going to be because he betrays the oaths.
You think that when he changes his beliefs, that the Syl we know will just be gone and changed? Like she'll be like
No,
how what Eshonai, original Eshonai is gone, and we have this like evil Eshonai. So Syl, we're gonna get evil Syl.
yeah, I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think she's just going to. He won't be able to connect with her anymore, or whatever bond that they have that allows her to be an honor sprint with him, because he's no longer honorable. She's going to just dissipate and go back to wherever they come from, or just like stop existing, like not die, not exist in this form, something worse.
Sad. I think things are gonna get really sad, and I can't wait.
All right. And then before we start the next chapter, we did get a piece of artwork, which is pretty much the sketches of some of the shard blades and shard plate that Shallan made.
Shard plate looks a lot more normal armor than I expected. In my head, it was like really cartoony, spiky Soul Calibur armor, like Siegfried has, if you know him.
Oh, yeah, like giant, bulky.
Yeah,
Makes you like
spiky nonsense
10
armor.
feet tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
Or like Rainbow Saruman armor, something like that.
Yeah,
Or Sauron, not Saruman.
Saruman. He could have some.
Thing I find funny is because you see like Shallan's handwriting on there saying like the names of the blades and stuff. They have the one picture where I assume that's Adolin because right underneath it says Sai.
Oh my gosh, she's an anime girl. Oh, he's so handsome.
All right. So the next chapter we begin is Middlefest, 3.5 years ago. All right, it's Middlefest. There's a large festival going on. Starts off with Shallan. She's looking at a parrot. It's described pretty much as a parrot, green bird that can talk, but they call it a chicken because and she's like, I've eaten chicken before, and he's like, no, this is a different chicken. And the owner tells her that this came from Shinovar. Because one thing you'll notice is on Roshar, all birds are called chickens.
Didn't I see that in something? I swear I've
What?
seen that like as a joke in something before, where it's that all birds are chickens.
I don't know.
Is it something where all birds are actually chickens, or just people call all birds
No,
chickens?
like somebody says that's just this kind of chicken, or maybe it was another animal. It's unlocked something in my memory that I'm not going to be able to find, so it's a useless comment, I'm afraid to say.
That sounds kind of familiar to me.
Yeah.
Are you sure it's not also Stormlight where everything's crabs?
No.
It was kind of a comedy thing. I'll think on it.
But yeah, then Shallan's father, tells her, all right, to follow him. And they're going to the stands for the duels. Oh, she tells her that she's coming of an age where she needs to start acting more like a lady. It will not be long before they will need to find a husband for her. And her father says that he may need to stop bringing her events like this. He also says that she needs to get a new tutor. Shallan thinks about her last tutor, who had run away after her father had an episode and beat his new wife, Melise. At the duels, they sit down, and then Bright Lord Revelar sits next to her father. And Revelar, he's brought some papers that explain a business deal between the two of them. After, Melise reads it out, Lynn's upset with this business deal because he's like, that I would just lose spheres on this. But Revelar tells Lynn that he is unpopular. And recently, the High Prince has visited many estates, and he liked what Revelar was doing. Revelar, he's been invited to see the High Prince now every 10 weeks. And he needs to look like a financial genius, and Lynn needs allies. So by doing this plan, they can help assist each other. And Lynn just complains that everywhere he steps, he just finds corners, and he's going to get trapped. And Revelar, he's like, about Shallan, asking, does the child really need to be here? Shallan takes this as a way to just leave and get out of there, so she immediately gets away. And Shallan's glad to be away because she has work to do. She looks around, she's able to find Aelita. She's the daughter of Bright Lord Tanavar. And she asks Aelita what she thinks of what she had written to her. And Aelita pulls out a note and grins and nods and gives the note to Shallan. Shallan asks her if she'll be able to get away, and Aelita says that she will. So Shallan leaves on to her next task. While she's going, one of their family guards, Jix, begins to follow her. She tells him that she needs to find the gambling pavilion, and he's telling her that that's not a place for her. She tells him, well then, you should go tell my father where I'm going, and see his reaction. And Jix just knows that if he does that, she's just going to go there anyways. So he reluctantly accompanies her. Once they get inside the gambling pavilion, instead of going for some of the other betting places, she goes right for the Axetown fights, which also just makes Jix even more reluctant and just like, oh god. Inside the Axetown fight, she finds Balat watching the fights. He has watched the animals kill each other with intensity. And she sits next to him, and Balat sees her and tells her that this is not a place for her. And Shallan pulls out Aelita's note, and Balat recognizes the glyph pair on it is for House Tanavar. She tells him that's from Aelita, and after reading the letter to him, it says that Aelita wants to meet him and walk around the fairgrounds with them. Balat's anxious, and he looks over at the Axehounds. Shallan thinks that, her brother isn't a cool man. He has shown kindness, and he did not have this fascination with death until their mother died. And Balat says that he needs to go, and he should not keep Aelita waiting. Before Balat leaves, Shallan asks if he knows where Jushu is, but Balat doesn't know. He says that Jushu met with some people right after they arrived here at the gambling pavilion. And Balat asks Shallan, what should I say to Aelita? But she doesn't know. He's like saying, you're a woman. She's like, I'm only 14. And she's thinking in her mind that she's not going to court any guys anyway, since her father will just choose her husband. So after Balat leaves, Shallan goes back to where her father was, and he's now meeting with somebody else that Shallan did not recognize. And this new man, he looks at Shallan, and he drops his cup. He looks at her with a slack jaw, but then is able to hide his expression a second later. Shallan asks Melise who this man is, and she tells him that, well, he's nobody of consequence. He just is here because he brought word of Helleran. And Shallan notices that the man has subtly pulled something out of his pocket and moves towards the drinks. Shallan thinks that it's poison, but then the man pours it into his own drink and then drinks it before he leaves. Shallan...
Fucking cryptic as fuck. That was weird.
Oh, it's just some vitamins.
Yeah, I'm sure that the book would make sure to point out some random vitamins being poured.
It's just crystal light. Chill.
Yeah.
So Shallan asks her father about Helleran, and he tells her not to speak his name. As of today, Helleran is officially disinherited, and Tet Balat is now officially non-Balat. Lynn says that Wickham refuses to leave their carriage and asks Shallan to go speak with him. So Shallan, she goes to the carriage and she finds Wickham in it. He asks her if their father asked her to find him or if she came here on one of her mercy missions. She says both. And he tells her that she can't fix them. Jushu will destroy himself, and Balat is becoming like their father step by step. Malise cries every other day, and one of these days their father will kill her. Shallan asks about Wickham, and he says that, well, he's not going to be around to see it. He will be dead.
Optimistic guy.
Yeah, always a positive outlook. Joe, are you doing a thing? Because the brother, or I thought it was pronounced Wakim, not Wickham.
Wakim?
Yeah.
Well, I don't remember how the audiobook is. It's Wikim.
I think Wickham is a cooler name, but so I was like, who's that? Like Wiccan, but it's Wakim. But you can keep calling him Wickham. I just didn't know who you were talking about.
Honestly, it doesn't make too much of a difference.
Because he's gonna be killed?
No, because it's just a pronunciation. And yeah, it's not like it's mispronouncing Kaladin or Dalinar.
And as we all know, Sheta, Joe would never correct a mispronunciation that's not that important.
Mm-hmm. Very suspicious. I will make a note.
Oh, okay. All right, so Wakim asks what she brought to save him. And Shallan pulls out papers that have math problems on it. She had gathered these from their father's books, and they are equations for determining when high storms are going to arrive. She spent weeks translating and simplifying the problems into glyphs for Wakim. But he just says, this is stupid, and what did she think she would accomplish? Shallan leaves, blinking away tears, and she goes out and she winds up sitting down on a stone. Some parshmen are walking by, leading some axe hounds. And the messenger from earlier asks her, where did the name axe hound come from? The word axe makes sense, but what's a hound?
Finally, that's what I've been saying. I think we brought that up before even, so I find that so funny. Like, they don't have dogs around here, so that's so fascinating for this mysterious guy who I think we all knew who he was to say here.
We do? I mean, we do.
All right, so, and Shallan says, the man, you brought news of Helleran. And he answers that Helleran is doing things that he found to be very important. The message to their father was that Helleran has eyes nearby and is watching. And this man, he was just coming around this area, and when Helleran heard that, he asked him, could you bring a message then? So Shallan thought, I thought your reasoning coming here was seeing us, was your primary reason. The man says, well, turns out that it was. And then he asked Shallan if Spren talked to her. Shallan thinks of lights going out, twisted symbols that eye should not see, and her mother's soul in a box. And she tells the man no. And she tries to tell him that she needs to get back to her father. He tells her that her father is destroying their family. Helleran was right on that, but wrong about everything else. And he has Shallan get up, look through the window of the carriage, and show her that Wakim has begun working on the math problems. And he was smiling while doing it.
Really interesting to hear how much Shallan, we thought it was when she was trying to keep her family together in the first book. We thought it was we were so hard on her brothers for not doing more to do that. It's interesting to see here that family has been falling apart forever, and she's been trying to hold it together since she was a little kid. So this is not a new dynamic at all.
Yeah.
And then the man goes on and he tells her a story, pretty much stories, two blind men contemplating beauty and what can be considered beauty even if you lose a bunch of stuff. And at the end, the man asks Shallan if beauty can be taken from a man if he has no senses and is always in pain. And she says that, well, if the pain can change every day, then the days that the pain is less, that would be beauty to him. And she asks the man, well, why are you telling me all this? And he tells her to be human is to seek beauty. Don't despair. And he tells her not to end the hunt because thorns grow in the way. And
I had the darker answer for his beauty question. I thought if a man can only feel pain and nothing else, then he will find beauty because a human does search for beauty. He will find beauty within pain and agony and become a Cenobite. That was my answer.
He will be barely a man.
Mm-hmm. And that makes me wonder if we're touching upon this hell dimension that they referenced before, this hellish situation that the Herald guys found themselves in. If one of them was trapped down there for too long and did become some bizarre concept of agony is ecstasy kind of thing, and that's what the dark god they're all going to be facing is. Now they got my. I don't think it's going to be that, but now they got my hopes up.
Yeah, that's my kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're a freak. Just kidding. That's cool. I'll still be your friend.
And next, the man asks her what the most beautiful thing she can imagine is. She winds up going through this whole big scenario, which essentially it boils down to her mother still alive and their families all together and happy. He asks her to go more into it, and how do you feel? And so she gives an even deeper explanation of this scenario. Shallan blinks away tears, and she can see the image. It was almost as if it was real. Wisp of light rose from her, and the man's hand is out, holding a handful of spheres towards her. But Shallan thinks no, and she draws back, and the light faded. The man says that she does not yet understand the nature of lies. He had that trouble himself long ago. The shards here are very strict.
And I believe shards was capitalized.
Yes.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that was a weird comment in general. Oh, yeah.
Yes, it was.
We've seen the word shard be capitalized a couple times throughout the two books.
Did we see it from somebody who's not from this world? That we explicitly know? Because I was certain this is Hoyd, right, Sheta? You agree?
He didn't sound like Hoyd to me.
Really?
Yeah. I thought that would be too obvious, so I didn't think it was Hoyd.
It never says that it is. That was just what I believed. It does not say he has an angular face as it did later, but I believe it said he had light eyes and light hair.
I believe it was one of his friends.
One of his
Well, not
friends?
friends, but one of the people that knows him. I didn't think it was Hoyd.
He was on his way to Roshar, correct? Back in the day.
Oh, okay. I didn't get that.
Oh,
Well, I could be wrong. That's just what I read into it. Like I said, they don't explicitly say anything like that.
All right, so I have so in Way of Kings, during epigraph, that was the letter written in there. It says, he holds the most frightening and terrible of all the shards.
Mm-hmm.
And that word shards was capitalized.
It's so interesting because, well,
are they not normally in the book? Are they not
normally
usually
they talk about
capitalized?
shard plate. They don't say shards, you know.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, and then he says she will have to see the truth before she can expand on it. She asks if he can help, but he says no. She is not ready, and he has work to do. But he tells her to keep cutting at those thorns and make a path for the light. The things she fights are not completely natural.
Jesus Christ. Ominous ass shit there. This book has been going all out on ominous, creepy, magical men walking in and saying cryptic things that imply a lot more than what just the story's exploring, I've noticed.
And she asks him about Helleran, and he tells her that, Helleran's in Alethkar. And after the man leaves, Shallan realizes that she never asked him his name. That's the end of the chapter.
That was the other reason, the not asking name thing.
What reason?
That he's a character we know.
Oh, I see. Mystery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I think he was described as having light blue eyes and dark hair.
Oh, he had dark hair. Okay, for some reason I read light hair.
Like he can't put a wig on. I feel like
I could still be way off from that.
Well, if you're thinking Hoyd, we've seen him differently because he had like white hair in Warbreaker, but he had dark hair as the King's Wit.
Oh, he has dark hair as the Wit? Okay.
Yeah, because he looks Alethi, and Alethi have dark black hair.
Okay. He had light hair in my head, so that was just wrong. So yes, then I'm sure that it's Hoyd. I'm 100% sure.
Okay.
Well, 99% sure. Could be Hoyd's friend, as you said, Sheta. And then that's really, if that is the case, that's really weird that he gave a double take to Shallan when he saw her. And adds to my theory I hate, and I just said is bullshit, that they have the power to know who the anchor beings on these worlds are. And he's like, oh shit, a main character. I better give her some useful advice.
Like, what are the odds of bumping into an anchor being?
But what it actually is more like is that he can see who's got these powers, right? That makes a lot more sense. Like, who on this world has this power?
Yeah.
And so he's like he looks and he sees a Spren standing behind her, like the angle-headed one, which was really weird to see her reference from her memories too. That she, like something things that shouldn't be able to see. She said in some weird way, jaggedy faces or something. But that these angle things she's seeing in the modern day seem to be part of her suppressed memories in some way, which is very strange to me. The word shard being capitalized and the way he said it made me feel that that's a bigger concept than just here, than just the shard plate and shard blade and stuff, which I'll say in theories, but yeah, a lot of stuff here. When they're like, okay, this many years ago, Shallan's a teenager, I'm like, I'm interested in seeing her family and stuff do stuff, but I did not expect that much. I was not that interested in it. Then I didn't know this is where they were going to hide a bunch of lore, so I found that very fun.
Yeah, it's both.
That's the best way to do it. And I love that she played matchmaker with her brother. And I love her description of he's sitting there watching dogs kill each other and getting off on it. And she's like, I need to get him a girlfriend now, or he's going to go even crazier. Jesus Christ.
It did seem like he got caught watching something he shouldn't have been watching. But
She's
like,
not even betting on him. He's just like, yeah.
He's like, hey, brother. I was like, oh my God, what are you doing here?
I liked her describing it as a fascination with death. I didn't know that was the reason that he was so interested in that line between life and death and something that fucked him up from his mom dying. I'm glad we get the origin on that weird ass shit.
I like that it's a well-known family fact that he's like that. Like, we all know he's weird. We gotta help him. I like the getting him a girlfriend thing.
He needs something to love and care about. This insight that she's had on people, it seems like that also comes from her fucked up family. Seems like everything comes from that.
Oh, yeah. I can't believe the work she had to do was help everyone in her family be happier. Like, here's a puzzle. Stop being depressed.
And Justin, I did find one other place where we had the word shard capitalized.
Okay, good. Let me guess. Another book.
Yes. I had while you guys were talking, I had to run into my room and grab another book.
I suspected as much. That's my theory. I think shards are what the magic is on each world. What was the context in the other book?
So this is from the Ars Arcanum of Elantris. All right, the sentence. I am increasingly certain that every being on Cell has some spiritual connection to the door and investiture, much as you find on most other major planets settled by a full shard of Adelnausium.
Okay, so that's probably why I had that in my head, is a distant memory of that. Yeah, so I'm certain that the concept of shards is how worlds get magic. And because he says how's he worded in this chapter?
The shards here are very strict.
Yes. So different magic systems are going to be harder or softer depending on how the shards are. And if the shards are like a bit of the consciousness of this greater being, that's very funny and very meta. I want to see that explored more if I'm on the right track there.
Yep, and then the other one, the full context, I read the one sentence from the letter was, AT was once a kind and generous man, and you saw what became of him. Race, on the other hand, was among the most loathsome, crafty, and dangerous individuals I've ever met. He holds the most frightening and terrible of all the shards.
Yep, sounds like I'm all on board there. I'm all right.
Yeah.
So I want to know how they got the name shard plate here then, if that's an important word. Though they're not all speaking the same language, so that could make no sense whatsoever. We'll see. I've given up on the worrying about the logistics of a language being different than another world with the pun Shallan keeps consistently throwing at me.
Yeah, that's a don't worry about it kind of thing.
It must be. It has to be.
Yep, and this chapter, I like it because I just like seeing Shallan working, trying to keep her family all together, and even Joachim just being like, it doesn't matter, we're all broken, but it's kind of helping him, and then this messenger's coming through and telling her that, yeah, it's going to be hard, things will be bad, but just keep on working at it.
Get up, girl.
Yeah, he read ahead, so he knows.
Yeah.
And it gives so much context to, like you guys were saying earlier, Shallan and like the later books, where here you can really see that she cares about her family. She wants to help all her brothers and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And she relates to their fucked up nature. She has something messed up in her head too. She just dealt with it by hiding it.
She's the youngest, right?
Yeah,
In her
it's
family.
Helleran, Balat, and I think this chapter said that Jushu and Wakim were twins, and then her.
Cute twins.
Don't tell
Though
the
they're not.
Yushan Vong about twins.
Is that a Star Wars?
Yeah, Yushan Vong is a Star Wars thing. All right. Anything else from this chapter either you two want to go over?
I just really liked the blind man story. I thought that was fun. I like telling a story you just make up and then exploring the themes with characters you made up in it. I find that too much fun to do. But when I'm reading this, I was like, where did I hear this before? I've heard this two blind men thing before, and I realized it was just in Shallan's earlier chapter. She loosely remembered a time in her childhood when she'd heard that story. At first, I thought I might have remembered it from a previous book or something.
This chapter was called Middlefest, but I think we can figure out why that was called that.
Oh,
so
no.
we'll move on.
What's the deeper reason? It's called Middlefest?
Because it's about the middle point of the book.
That's right. Yep. And it represents the midlife of Shallan or something like that.
Oh God, she's only like 14. That's her midlife.
Mm-hmm. Yep. On this planet, they don't live very long.
She's got 2 more
Dalinar's
years.
only 30 years old.
What a twist.
Mm-hmm.
I can guarantee that's incorrect. I don't think it's a spoiler to say that is not true. We already know, like, Yasna's like 35 when she died.
She's long-lived.
All right. We'll go on to chapter 46, Patriots. Epigraph. When Simmel was informed of the arrival of the Edge Dancers, a concealed consternation and terror, as is common in such cases, fell upon him. Although they were not the most demanding of orders, their graceful, limber movements hid a deadliness that was, by this time, quite renowned. Also, they were the most articulate and refined of the Radiants.
Edge Dancers, I'm sorry, they sound cool. I find that to be a lame name. I can't help it. Like, oh, we dance on the edge. We're the scariest one, or we're the edgiest ones.
What? Almost.
Yeah. I'm sure when I see them, I'll feel differently, but I'm not. Actually, I don't even like the name Windrunner that much. I don't think I like any of these names.
Well, let's see. What have we heard so far? We have Windrunners, Lightweavers, Stonewards, Dustbringers, but they don't like that name. They prefer the name Releasers, Edge Dancers, Bondsmiths.
Bondsmiths might be my least favorite. Wait, unless they smith bonds, like an oath, that would be pretty cool.
Like the words?
Like they smith a bond to a person.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll start off this chapter. It's Kaladin again. So after he looked over some bridge crews, Syl tells Kaladin that everyone is in the barracks eating their dinner. He's like, all right, good to know. And she tells him, no, that was not a report. It was a point of contention from her. He's still working. He says that he needs to get the men ready. And he asked her if she's seen more of those red spren around, and she says that she thinks so, just kind of out of the corner of her eye, watching her.
Just like Gaz.
Kaladin says that something is coming, and that countdown on the wall, it leads pretty much right into the weeping. Or if you remember from last book, the weeping's the time of year where it's just constant raining.
I did not remember, so I had no idea what the fuck he was talking about.
Oh, I really like the weeping.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll explain
cozy.
it again later for somebody like me who doesn't remember that, but it was very strange.
Yeah, it's just like, I think it even explains like later in this chapter, like the weeping, it's constant raining and usually, and like no high storms during it. Typically, so every other year. So 1 year, right in the middle of it, there'll be a high storm, and then the next year, no high storm. But it's like 4 straight weeks of rain.
And then, if you remember, Kaladin's mom kind of like fixing their ceiling so that the rain doesn't come in.
Mm.
And it's kind of cozy because then like no one can work and stuff because it's raining.
That sounds like a good setting for some fucked up shit to go down.
Yeah, it sounds like that's the countdown to
Yeah.
or what they're counting down to. So yes,
Yeah, fucked up shit like your little brother being chosen to be taken into a army.
I meant more like fucked up action shit, but that also does work.
Because the chapter where Tien was taken was called The Weeping.
And what did that chapter represent?
Both the rain and them crying.
No, I just had a PTSD to hearing you say that was what I was going to hear next.
All right. Yeah, still, even though he's saying he needs to get all the stuff taken care of, she still tells him to rest. So he finally agrees. He admits he's kind of exhausted. So he goes back to Bridgeport Barracks where in there, Hobbers serving rock stew to everyone. And Renarin was taking everyone's finished bowls and washing them.
Renarin's trying to get me to trust him. I'm still wary. He's doing a really good job, but I still don't.
Well, I'm just doing the dishes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And also in there are 3 Herdazian. Well, besides Lopin, there are 3 other Herdazians wearing Bridgeport uniforms. But Kaladin only recognized one, Punio.
We're going to find out Herdazians multiply by splitting a part of them off and calling it their cousin.
That was my theory. Herdazians
like a gremlin.
Are like tribbles.
Yeah, tribbles. Yeah, I like that.
The trouble with Herdazians is going to be like,
I feel like there'd be so many more on the planet if that was true.
Well, the problem is they need rock stew in order to do it. Or some specific thing that they're only getting here.
They're all just multiple man. When they touch, they re-merge. Yeah, and so Kaladin tells Lopin that he has too many cousins. But Lopin says, no, that's impossible. And he introduces the newcomers as Rod and Huio.
I wonder if Brandon Sanderson enjoys coming up with these names.
I don't think you become a fantasy writer unless you like doing that.
I just see him like out loud trying to make up names that sound funny and then kind of trying to spell it out. I'm like, Huio. How would you spell that?
There's also a lot of characters who get named after like his friends or people that he knows.
I bet.
I just don't point out all of them.
So he has a friend named Huio?
I don't know about Huio, but I know there are other Bridge 4 members that are his friends in real life.
And does he kill them?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Trust me. He's had plenty of his friends that he killed. Like in Mistborn, one body that Kelsier is just carrying a dead body of a guy and tosses it onto another noble's land. That dead body was one of Brandon Sanderson's friends.
Jeez.
So even if you're named after one of Brandon's friends, that does not mean that your character will survive. All right, and then Kaladin walks over to where Shen is, and he tells him that he had talked to Dalnar about arming him. Dalnar asked Kaladin if he trusted Shen. Kaladin told him the truth, that he did. And Kaladin hands a spear to Shen. He tells him that Bridge 4 doesn't have any slaves.
That's either the greatest idea someone's ever done that's going to save everyone in the book in the end, or the worst choice that he's made in the entire book. One of the two.
I'm going to be honest. I thought Shen was going to stab him right away.
What? He's in slave form. Why would he do that?
Except for if you finally touch a spear, you will kill the first non-Parshendi you see. Like it will activate his kill. Like, I don't care how much you trust them. They're not human. They're not like us. Like activate, kill all humans.
Yeah.
That's what I thought was going to happen.
I feel that it seemed like he was about to tell him something, and it makes me wonder, like, what big secret does he know? Like, he's one of the slave ones. Are they all here undercover and they're just not saying anyone? Is this the first time anyone's ever been nice to one? Very curious.
I'll tell you later when I stab you in the back.
No, not that.
And Kaladin tells him that he's sorry for being frightened before. Shen hesitantly takes the spear. Kaladin says that he'll have Leighton and Natim practice with Shen in the mornings along with some others. And Shen tells Kaladin that he's a good man. Kaladin responds by saying that he has been judged by his eyes his whole life, so he's not going to judge Shen because of his skin. Shen seemed troubled about something. It's about this talk, but then Moash calls out for Kaladin. Kaladin asks Shen if he has something to say, but Shen says, no, I'll say it later.
Like Moash, he was about to reveal the entire secret Parshendi plot to Kaladin. We could have ended this book right now.
Mhm.
So when Kaladin gets over there, Moash tells him that, we're going out. Even Rock's coming with us. And Moash tells Kaladin, you promised. So Kaladin agrees to go. And they're heading towards a tavern, and Rock's talking about how they're going to have a drinking contest. Lopin claims he'll be victorious. Sigil says it'll be fine because none of them have duty until late in the morning. And there's a crier that's talking about some news, something about a war going on in Yakaved and a new emperor in Azir. So Sigil jogs over to him to hear some of this news. They stop at a place called the Ornery Chull, which Rock's not a fan of because they don't have Horn-Eater loggers. And Moash just says, well, yeah, that stuff just melts your teeth. Sigil comes back, eating some chowta, which Kaladin's still not a fan of. When they go inside the tavern, a dark-eyed woman smiles at Pete. And Sigil asks Kaladin if he has a plan for where to house the married men at Bridge 4. Looking at Pete, Kaladin realizes that he might need to start thinking of that. He also knows that Rock is married, and he has sent letters to his family at the Horn-Eater Peaks, but even if they are coming, it'd take a while to get here. And Teft used to be married, but his wife is now dead. And Kaladin says they might need to check with this woman that Pete is with, her name's Ka, and see if she can read. It'd be good to have someone like that around. Ka is taking some drink.
I like when Rock's saying, no, we can't add women in. We're gonna lose Bridge 4. Everyone's gonna fall apart.
What? Did he say that?
I think it was him. It was him or one of the other guys say that. Like the worry that if everyone starts having lives and families, this thing they've built here is going to fall apart a little bit. I think that's quite sad because that means you're moving on and being happy. But they're going to lose. Some of them will lose something if they do that because some of them are a bit too broken to be happy. It's weird when you've got a wish for unhappiness for your friend group for your own benefit.
Yeah. There's something about contentment that makes you less motivated.
And Ka starts taking some drink orders from them. Rock asks her if they have Horn-Eater lager, but she tells him no, it just melts their cups. So he reluctantly goes with ale. And the men begin talking about the Horn-Eater Peaks and about how, and Rock's talking about how it's warm up there, and even though it's at the top mountain, it should be cold. Sigil explains that the peaks have hot springs on them, and that helps warm them. But Rock says, no, that's just a lowlander word. The Horn-Eater oceans are waters of life. And Rock goes on to explain the story of the Horn-Eaters, or the Unkalaki. They lived on the lower ground, but they were hated by their humans. So their leader went to plead to the gods. Not the Spren, but more powerful gods. He went to the gods of the trees and the gods of the water, but neither of them were able to help. Lastly, he went to the gods of the mountain, but since that was a land of spirits, unless they could also make it a land of men and spirits, and they couldn't live there. So leader went back to the gods of the forest, gods of the water, and got all them to work together with gods of the mountain in order to make a land for them to live. Sigil points out, and the lakes on the mountain, there's still water, so it's just hot springs. Rock says, no, it's different. It is water of life with a connection to the gods. And if Unkalaki swim in it, then they see the place of gods. It's where they live. In it, you can communicate with gods if you're lucky. Kaladin asks,
it's so interesting to me here to have Sigil he wants to be a storyteller, or he wants to tell people about other places and stuff. That's his whole point. And then he's trying to tell people about this place. No one really cares. And when I'm reading it, I barely remember what he said. Rock tells some weird ass story that barely makes sense, and then you remember all of that stuff. I kind of wonder if Sigil's going to have an arc where he learns, because he's so specific that he's not a storyteller, that turning something into a story, as Rock says, all things are stories, is going to be a way to do what he wants to do better. I think it's something very interesting to watch a writer talk about like that. And I hope that's explored more, because I really liked these two's ways of really disagreeing with how each other was saying this basic fact.
I like that. That's cool.
That's definitely
true,
in there. I just want to see it explored more.
Kaladin asks Rock if he can see Spren because of what happened in the waters. Rock says it's involved, but he will say no more. And Sigil once again is like, yeah, the water, it's just hot springs. But Rock says the water on top of these lakes are what is. but not the water on the bottom. He even says that he met a god himself. He saw Lunu Anaki, the god of travel and mischief.
Don't even do this. This thing fucking broke me. But go on. I could not believe what I read in these following sentences. I was shocked.
He came out from the depths of the peak ocean. He looked like an Alethi, but with lighter skin, a very angular face, and white hair. At this description, Sigil looks up sharply.
Yeah. So you're fucking telling me. So I'm reading this, and I'm like, Rock's like, this is a place of gods and stuff. And I'm like, that sounds awfully familiar. That sounds a lot like the pool that Wit had, or that we saw the Elantrian go in, and then Wit went in. And then 2 seconds later, he's like, by the way, I saw Wit come out of that pool. I was like, what the fuck? That shocked the hell out of me.
Can you think of other pools of water connected to gods?
Yeah, I can. That would be the one in Mistborn. But to have Wit just be like the idea that we watched him go in one and then come out in this one, that's specifically what shocked me, like a lot. It's interesting that this water thing is going to be a big aspect of it, but yeah.
Yeah. Rock says the man had white hair, but he looked young. And he made a mockery of Rock's beard and asked what year it was.
What year it was? That's fucking cryptic as hell, too.
But Rock says he wasn't scared because Lunu and Naki cannot hurt men. The men, they go on.
I'm going crazy. Now I need to know, is this just a term that Rock's people has applied to him that has nothing to do with it? Or do they, because they're close to these pools, they've seen and learned about things that are far beyond what other people around here have known? I'm so scared and curious about that.
So the men go on to other conversations. They talk about how Sadeas has been disobeying orders and going out on plateau runs when it's not his turn. Just a few days ago, he went out on one with Ruthar. They claim to have failed, but it was open knowledge that they had won the gem heart and hid the winnings. And Sadeas is doing this because he was outraged that he cannot put investigators into Dalnar's war camp. And Kaladin thinks that someone needs to put Sadeas down, and that he is as bad as Amaram. He thinks that he's getting better at his powers, so he could use his powers and visit Sadeas at night and bring justice to the world. But his gut tells him that there was something wrong with that. And Moash asks Kaladin if he was ready. Moash brought Kaladin here to this bar because they're going to have a meeting with his co-conspirators. So they leave and they go to a private dining area in the back. Inside the room, there are 3 men and a woman. A light-eyed man says it's a pleasure to meet Kaladin. His name is Graves, and he calls himself a patriot. And Kaladin recognizes the woman as one of Dalnar's scribes, Danlin.
I didn't think we'd ever see her again.
I thought this is always what you thought she was.
It did, yeah. I did have that theory. But I thought it wasn't gonna go through after they broke up.
I'm telling you, Dalinar runs way too loose a ship.
He trusts women too much. That's his problem.
No, he trusts everybody too much. Kaladin should not be trusted even.
Well, I think he made a point where he said that Kaladin and the Bridge 4 men were the only people in the entire camp that he could trust not to be on Sadeas' side.
Yeah, and how's that working out? He's going to assassinate his nephew.
Yeah.
But not Dalinar. And Graves and Danlin, they go on to explain, what's going on. They say that there are patriots of what Alethkar could be. And Graves says that Kaladin has seen how bad of a king Elhokar has been. He's blowing this kingdom to the ground. Danlin even says there was a time where he would sign anything into law as long as he was cajoled the right way. Another man in the room, who's like a mercenary guy, Rill, says that Elhokar is destroying the kingdom, and it is the duty of the people to see him removed. Moash asks what would happen if Elhokar was taken out. Kaladin answers that Dalinar would take the throne. Even if he's only proclaimed himself as regent for Elhokar's son, he'd still be the one running things. Graves says that this place would be better off with Dalinar in charge. Kaladin says that he practically already runs the place anyways, but Danlin says he holds himself back. He knows he should take the throne, but he doesn't because of love for his dead brother. Graves says they need the Blackthorn, otherwise this kingdom will fall. But Graves also says they don't want a coup, and they don't want to be killing like guards and everyone like that. They just want the king removed, and that's why they've tried to make it look like an accident. That way it just happened and Dalinar takes over. He asks Kaladin to think how much longer this kingdom could last with Elhokar at the head. Graves says that he has heard Kaladin was trained as a surgeon. And what do you do if the hand is festering? Do you wait and hope it gets better, or do you act? Graves says that right now, since Kaladin controls the King's Guard, he can make an opening for them. Graves said that he will just do the deed himself. Danlin adds in that it would be better for the king this way. Best to end it quickly instead of him slowly drowning and everything. Kaladin stands up and says that he will consider it. And Graves tells Kaladin to be the surgeon that this kingdom needs. As Kaladin and Moash leave, Kaladin, in his mind, he's thinking and wishing that their arguments had not been so good. Kaladin tells Moash that those people are traitors and he wants nothing to do with them. Moash said that, but Kaladin, you said you consider. Kaladin tells him that he only said that way they would let him leave. They have a duty, but Moash asks if the duty is more important than the kingdom. Kaladin snaps, telling Moash that he doesn't care about the kingdom, he just wants revenge. Moash tells him that pay attention to what it was just like in there. Graves was light eyes, but he still treated all of them the same, and that he's even married to a dark-eyed woman. Kaladin tells Moash not to meet with them anymore. After Moash leaves, Kaladin thinks back to what Graves said. Be the surgeon that this kingdom needs. That's the end of our chapters this week.
I really think that even if it is an accident, if Elhokar dies, the kingdom is going to be plunged into civil war anyways. Not because anyone's particularly loyal to him or anything, but because he's basically the excuse that they have to not just go to war with each other, and they're even close to doing it anyways. There's been open talk about taking power from the king, open rebellion against Dalinar's rule, even though it's decreed by the king, I just don't think it's going to go as well as they hope it does if he fell off a bridge. I think and especially with him having a young one, I think, and if Dalinar says, "Oh, it's going to be me," I bet somebody's going to go grab the kid, and there's going to be a succession war. That's going to be a fucking mess, And somebody's going to say, "No, the young boy said I should rule," some shit like that.
Dalinar there was a mess just because he was suspected of the assassination, in the first book.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets killed, there's going to be conspiracy theories all over the place about him. And then it will have been, if they sniff out at all that these guys did it in his name, they're just going to say he was a part of it,
And if he had the strength to hold the kingdom, maybe, but his armies are depleted. He doesn't have a lot of military strength right now. All he has basically is his authority over other people's armies and how many of them are going to stay loyal to him. I just don't think I get the moral quandary Kaladin's in, but logically I don't think it's going to work like these guys think it will. Though I do hope that they're not just in it for personal gain and do care about the kingdom. I'd find that very interesting. But we don't know enough about them yet.
Way.
Well, it seems that way, but it always seems that way,
I mean, I believed it.
You got suckered in by their power to the people talk. We care about the kingdom and rightful rules and stuff.
Oh, that is funny with the also we care about the people. My wife is a dark eyes. It's really funny.
We don't know enough about these guys to say yet, I hope that they're on the level, just because that'd be more interesting to me.
This was another longer chapter. Anything else in this chapter you two want to go over?
Sheta, what was your thoughts on the mystery pool stuff? I wanted to hear.
Well, just what we talked about. I couldn't believe it and stuff.
Yeah, you were shocked like I was?
Yeah, that's not what I think it is.
Yeah.
So I didn't believe it and stuff. But this kind of thing makes me really think of the Lost thing a lot, where
on somebody's backstory you get a sudden guest star by Jacob or something.
Yeah, why was Rock in the background during this scene and stuff? It's just very. It makes me wonder about the larger world and what's going on and stuff.
Yeah, bigger than the larger world, the larger worlds. That's what I find so interesting.
That's what I mean, the Cosmere, because it's especially interesting when it's all these minor background characters that are getting to see stuff like that. It's really fun.
All right. So once again, I feel like this chapter title, it's pretty obvious why it's called Patriots. So we'll just leave it there.
Because Moash is the only true patriot here.
Now,
because the Patriots won that year.
I was going to say, because Tom Brady was the one that came out of the pool and talked to Rock.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. It was all there.
Wow.
So yeah, let's just go over the theories and predictions segment. So first, I'll ask, will Kaladin, go against Moash, or will he go along with the assassination plans?
On the whole assassin Moash subplot, I can't be trusted anymore. I was certain Moash was not involved.
Yeah,
Even when he said it was the king, I thought he was not involved. Because again, I thought he was smarter than that, but I guess I was incorrect.
You can't have looks and brains, Justin.
Yeah, he doesn't have looks. We already went over this.
And I stand in my place.
Yeah, you often do.
I think that just because he said no, I think he will go with it, because he's saying no in front of Moash, and I was like, Moash, I don't want you hanging out with these guys. But then secretly, now that I said that out loud, I don't think he's gonna go for it.
Mm-mm.
There's
I
nothing
don't
to be
think so
gained for
either.
him.
Yeah, I don't think he
Yeah.
really gives a fuck who rules the kingdom. The only reason he'd do it would be as a favor for Moash, and I think it's more likely he's going to drive a rift between him and Moash about that. But I think the fact that he knows that a man had a vendetta against the king and met these guys will be enough to basically get him exposed and expelled from his position, and he'll lose everything.
Yeah. So no, I don't think he's gonna go for it.
And then, what was it Shen was trying to tell Kaladin before Kaladin got pulled away?
My people are secret evil infiltrators, and you need to kill them down to the last one, or else they'll destroy your people. Because they're led by a dark evil god, and I just felt it through the Parshendi grapevine. It has awakened again. Something to that effect, but a bit less dramatic.
You really weren't supposed to give me this. And then he stabs him.
And with Shallan's flashback, what was the thing that the messenger poured into his own water and then drank?
Crystal light.
Some kind of thing he has to drink to be able to live in a magic world while not having that soul shard.
I know what it is.
You know what it is?
It's atium. It's a
to
metal.
do what? Would that even work on this world? I don't think it would.
It's a secret metal, carefully formulated to keep him alive in this world.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, we already know what atium does. It would let him see slightly into the future.
Yeah, maybe he's from the past, living in the future. I think it's some kind of metal, because that's what you do. You drink metal.
Yes, you drink metal. Not people from that world. Just you in general drink metal.
That's what we've seen, though. Or it could be a polyjuice potion. It's running out, and he had to fill up again.
It changes. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That was weird.
And then last question: will Pete and Ka get married?
Who? Oh, I don't care. I'm totally indifferent.
How could you not care? The whole future of Bridge 4
I've never
depends
heard of
on
this Pete guy until now.
He was brought up a couple times last book.
Yeah, well, I didn't remember it.
And we know what that means. He has no chance.
My guess is yes. And that's the end of that. No plot point will happen from it. Just it will happen in the background to represent the bridge crew moving on.
Yeah. And there will be a small part where Kaladin's like, oh, crap, we got to go to Pete's wedding.
No, that will not happen.
So Kaladin, it would mean a lot if you were my best man.
We're going to get a whole big Bridge 4 love triangle. All of a sudden, another member like Scar will start trying to date Ka, and it'll threaten to break Bridge 4
Horn Eaters have multiple
apart.
wives? Because Rock was hitting on that one waitress, said he'd make her part of his family.
What? Was he?
Yeah, he said, come up to the mountains, I'll make you part of my family. And then she's like, eh.
I assumed he meant like marry her off to like one of his sons or something.
That's not what I heard.
Oh my. Be careful, Shallan,
What? Why Shallan?
because she's the girl, and she's part horn eater.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't get that part you were doing. I see. That is true. She is part horn eater.
All right. Any other theories or anything you would two want to throw out?
I got one. Okay, sorry, I have to name one comment about the guy following the woman taking out her glove. Like, take it off, the glove.
Oh, when their eyes follow it like a woman taking off her glove, that part.
Yeah. Man, the burlesque show must be pretty quick in that. Or pretty long, because you have to wait a long time just for the glove to come off. Okay. All right. My
I'm
theory
glad to
is
hear that people from here are also attracted to behinds. They're not just freakishly fixated on the hand thing. When he said stop checking out Shallan's behind,
I can't believe Kaladin. He's a butt guy.
he was not doing that. That's just what Adolin said.
Oh.
And
Yeah, but
Kaladin
he
was
followed his eyes.
Kaladin was just looking at her because he doesn't trust her. I don't think he was checking out her ass.
He absolutely was not. We saw it from his perspective.
You know, eyes wander. Maybe he didn't mean to. But then at that moment, they fell on there, and then that's when Adolin spotted him.
I think Adolin just liked to. I think Adolin's
Yeah.
jealous of Kaladin, jealous of the attention his father gives him, worried about him replacing him, basically.
Yeah, that's what I said. First, you took my father's love.
Mhm.
Then you took my fiance, my betrothed.
Well, he did just find out that she was wearing his boots.
Mhm.
Yeah, I really like that part. That's very intimate. I would never wear a guy's boots. It's too much. Okay, anyway, my theory is that Helleran, Shallan's brother, is someone we have seen or met, and because he's here. And
I was thinking that too, yeah, but I don't know who. Do you have a guess?
I thought he might be the guy in charge of the Ghost Bloods, but
The Ghost Bloods? Jesus.
yeah.
You didn't recognize him?
No,
Yeah,
that
wait a
guy's
minute.
not in
Shallan met
charge.
that guy. Oh,
No, not that guy. The guy who's that guy's boss. You know, we were saying a bit how this guy did not seem like a big deal. He was kind of a try hard with his darts, and that the guy who's in charge of him is actually the big deal. And that guy will be Shallan's brother.
So Shallan's father was working for her brother?
No, they were working together, but Shallan's father's kind of like dishonorably discharged from the Ghost Bloods, and then the son kind of took over or continued working with them, and then eventually took over them because basically from the ties that he had while he was still with the family, he got in and then took over eventually over the years. So that's the theory.
I'm going to guess Sigzil. Did Shallan meet him yet?
I don't know.
I don't remember if he was there when Shallan came in or not.
Wait,
Because he has
Sigzil is who?
Yeah, he has a connection to Hoyd.
What, you're saying Sigzil is Helleran?
Yeah, why not?
Skin tone.
Isn't he a specific race? Yeah. Like I thought maybe him too.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, he's Asian-ish, so he's dark skin.
Yeah, I guess then Helleran's gonna get canceled when that's revealed.
That's stupid.
No, I actually don't think it's anyone we've met. If it is, then it'd be somebody very minor. But I do think he's here somewhere, or he's involved with the mysteries of this area somehow. No, my only theories for this are what I was saying. The shards are fractions of some god that died. All magic comes from them. They work differently in different worlds based on, I don't know, maybe how complex they are or what element of its personality they are. So that's why the rules and magics are different. It unlocks different aspects of the infinity magic of God. And I like your theory that he's drinking a potion to be able to exist in this world, but I don't think it's a metal like you're saying.
Mm.
And that Hoyd jumped directly from Elantris to this book. And that he may be more important than I thought. Maybe he is some kind of trickster god thing, like some kind of bigger element to him.
He did give me a lot of Loki vibes, you know.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I didn't think of that exactly because we're dealing with a lot of God stuff, but it could definitely be that these Hoy's friends and stuff like that who are kind of recording all this stuff are gods in that way, like Olympus gods and stuff like that, or
I don't know that I think they're gods like that. To me, they'd be more like Sazed, where they ascended to godhood just through magics they've learned.
yeah, but this version would be like that.
Mm.
People who got god powers.
I
or
also think
shard
because he
powers.
asked what year is it, and he recognized that Shallan was attached to stuff. I think when they're outside of the worlds, time probably acts differently, and they can see, because that would explain why these people following Shallan know she's important, if they're following her, of course. Maybe why Yasna needed to die. There's like forces at work that can see beyond the scope of time. Whether they can change time or not, I have no idea. But yeah, that'd be why he asked what year it was. And I don't know, he didn't seem too familiar with Rock's people. He made fun of the beard and stuff. I don't know. But yeah, just that they're transcending time too. That's about it. There's some huge picture story behind the scenes we're not seeing.
Well, then let's move over to character of the week.
I have to go with Shallan for trying to keep her family together and getting her brother laid.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we know he gets married. I assume it's that woman.
Oh yeah, that's Sister of the Year right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. In last book we were told that his betrothed name was Elita.
There we go.
It is. Wow, what a great sister.
Mm-hmm.
I would have just disowned my brother if my brother was blonde and not ever introduce him to my friends.
Just don't bring your pets over when he's here.
Right. I'm gonna go with Kaladin because he is sticking with his guts and is finally doing that thing that I was wanting him to be like, which is I don't like light eyes. I don't care about your stuff, and I just want my thing that I do care about.
Revenge.
Revenge.
Do you think that means he's going to lose his fairy?
He might get an upgrade.
Get an upgrade.
Yeah.
All right. You no longer follow honor. Now you get the blood frenzy fairy.
Yeah, this is just like, yeah. You either pick, save the little sisters or and get or don't and you get more power,
In BioShock, you're saying he's going to get the evil BioShock. You're rooting for him. You're rooting for him to get the evil BioShock ending, even though the good one is one of the most nice things I've ever seen.
If it's in his character.
Oh man, you are mean to this poor guy.
You just want Kaladin to choose Renegade every time it's an option.
Yes, basically.
I want him to stay true to himself and be happy.
I think the point Syl was trying to say is that following revenge makes you incredibly unhappy, twisted and dark and messed up and miserable.
Yeah, probably.
Probably. I hope he does that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. he's young. He's got time to learn, from his mistakes.
So he better make some horrific mistakes now so he can ruin everything he's built. And all of his Bridge 4 can be executed for treason. Okay. Dalinar too. Everyone is executed for treason because of what Kaladin does here. That's the ending you're hoping for.
Need to find a way for Sadeas to become king.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so that's the long-term plan here, Sheta. I get it now.
I didn't say that, but I do like where this is going.
And for my character, I'm also going to pick Kaladin, but for different reasons. I liked him. I like the scene where he meets with Shen and gives him the spear and telling him, no, there's no slaves in Bridge 4. And how he's he meets with those people, and even though they did sow some doubts in him, he still was like, yeah, Moash, you can't meet with them anymore. Plus his training scenes with Zahel were pretty cool.
Yeah. I liked him getting knocked down a peg because he thought he would just be good at it because he's good at everything fighting wise. I like when main characters learn that lesson. You got to step up even more.
All right, let's move over to quotes.
I just have a short quote from Kaladin. It's after checking out all the bridge crews. He eventually left 18, shaking his head. They didn't seem to want to be soldiers. Why had they taken Dalinor's offer then instead of leaving? Because they don't want to make choices anymore, he thought. Choices can be hard. He knew how that felt. But he did. He remembered staring at a blank wall, too morose to even get up and go kill himself. He shivered. Those are not the days he wanted to remember. I just liked a lot. When he got to that bridge crew and they were all undisciplined, I was like, I don't know how to deal with people like that. Like as a teacher, or in things where teachers have to deal with kids who don't want to learn or who are undisciplined. Like, I don't know why they're the way they are, and so then I don't know how to deal with them and stuff. But for Kaladin to recognize that and know why they are like that was it just showed how insightful he was and how he was able to lift the crews up because he understood, you know, the motivations or unmotivations behind people who had a hard life. I did not think it would be depression and, being at the end of your rope. I do hope and want to see him help them, though.
I completely agree, Sheta, and that's why I picked the same exact quote.
What? Really?
Mm-hmm. With mine being focused on they don't want to make choices anymore because choices are hard thing, being a thing that I think a lot of people feel when they just kind of give up. They just don't want to have to choose anything at all. They think it's simpler to just sit there and be miserable because the choice to not be miserable means that you could make the wrong choice. And so they just give up. And that Kaladin's felt that and sees that in people, I found to be very interesting. And I also thought that the line, he remembered sitting and staring at a blank wall, too morose to even get up and go kill himself, is one of the most depressing lines I've ever read in my life. Jesus Christ. We call him emo, but that is on a whole nother level, man. That's a horrible place to be. Nobody should think back and remember too morose to even kill themselves.
Like, what's the point of that even?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. What, I'd just end my suffering. Who cares? Who cares about anything?
Yeah. This is why, I like that Kaladin's all like in charge of, protecting the king and all that stuff, but like he hasn't really dealt with that in a while. His dark side, his emo side, and I think it's gonna get. I don't want to say this. I want it to get bad again and even worse before it's to force him to kind of deal with that for real. In this new stage of his, where he has these powers and stuff and these oaths. Like, it takes a lot more to hold up those oaths and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So,
he figured out how to help other people with it. He has not figured out how to help himself with it because he was
yeah.
getting very depressed at the end of the last book, very hopeless.
Mhm.
He gets very, very unhappy and frustrated in here.
Yeah, and he had his motivations were like my crew, my
Mm-hmm,
people, my friends, and that is one way to stay up and alive. But now
mm-hmm,
he's like, all right, I lost that. They're just fine. They're getting married and shit. Like, what am I
mm-hmm.
gonna do now?
Because still, he knows how to defend others. He knows how to protect others. He cares for others a lot. That is not the same as caring for yourself.
Yeah,
And if you're truly going to protect people and take this oath and you don't take care of yourself in that way, it's not going to work.
yeah. It's even in there where
Mhm.
he doesn't eat. Like he doesn't take care of himself in that minimum
Mhm.
capacity where you're like, you got to
He doesn't
eat,
have
make sure you're
friends and
happy.
relationships. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, that's no good for anybody.
Hmm.
Yep, yep, yep. I can't wait.
I can wait.
Paladin.
It's going to be very sad and painful.
Yeah, good.
It'll probably involve Dalinar's death, so I can definitely wait.
I think Phil's death is going to be harder for him.
I think Syl's death he'd be over morose enough to do what he wanted to do before.
Still
I
has
think
been
I
his
think
little
that would
light.
be too much. Yeah, exactly.
All right, then my quote, it's from the Shallan chapter. The messenger smiled. To be human is to seek beauty, Shallan. Do not despair. Do not end the hunt because thorns grow in your way. And then just combine that to later in the chapter where she asks him if he could help. He tells her, "No, not now. You aren't ready for one, and I have work to be about. Another day. Keep cutting at those thorns, strong one, and make a path to the light. The things you fight aren't completely natural." I just like that because it's the sort of message that Shallan needed to hear. Because she's trying to do so much to keep her family together, fix them and everything. And we see in this chapter, it's not going easy. And it's likely won't be easy in the future, but it's the sort of thing that she had to hear in order to keep fighting. And even when it got to the point her father died, they need a soulcaster, and she keeps fighting to leave her family behind and go and plan to steal a soulcaster from one of the most powerful women in the world.
Which was a terrible plan, but commendable.
It all worked out in the end.
It did work out. Doesn't mean it's a good plan.
Well, Yasna didn't notice it was swapped.
That is true. Would have worked out if only not for that pesky fucking creepy poisoner asshole.
You mean her first boyfriend?
Yes, her first boyfriend.
Her ex,
Actually, it wouldn't. Actually, it wouldn't have worked out because it wasn't a real soulcaster. So I would have gotten back to the Ghost Bloods. Here you go. Here's a soulcaster. This is a fake.
I forgot about that part.
Didn't work out because Yasna's dead now.
Yeah, but it worked out for Shallan.
Oh.
All right. Now let's go to a couple comments. First, from Way of Kings, chapters 36 through 40, from RPG Chick. Thanks for the Soulcaster theories. Very interesting. The capsule would go to steal Yasna's Soulcaster, but it would be Shallan's broken one. Or the one that's broken isn't really broken, so that's why Yasna doesn't notice any difference. I am so down with the Yasna Shallan ship. Shalna?
No.
Though I doubt it would ever be real.
No,
Yeah,
God,
I liked it a lot. I still like that. I still, because she may have passed before we got any resolution, it could still be like that.
Oh, God, no.
Unless we find Yasna's diary where she writes a little bit about her feelings.
The only good part of Yasna's not being in the story is none of that from Sheta.
All right. And then from Way of Kings, chapters 41 through 44, also RPG Chick. Hey now, don't be Reagan on Jason X.
We're defending Jason X here. Oh, God.
Hey, I will defend it. It's not Jason Goes to Hell.
That is true. That's very true.
All right. Though this one line kills me every time I hear it. He said his android sort of girlfriend KM got tougher. I gave her an upload instead of upgrade. He said it so confidently too.
Oh, God, that move. Oh, God.
I've only seen it once.
That's a movie you truly need to watch a few times to understand the intricacies of.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I did like the nitroglycerin or the liquid nitrogen death where freeze the face then smash it. And when they sent Jason to the virtual reality crystal lake.
That was the best part, yeah.
I think the saddest part about all the Friday the 13th movies is how much censorship there had to be, because you see the behind the scenes shots of all the effects that Tom Savini had for stuff and just had to be cut down. I think one of the movies had him like crushing someone's head and like goes really cool with the special effects, but nope, had to be cut down to like 1 split second then cut away. Or when Jason had the person in the sleeping bag and beat them against a tree. I think the actual movie only got like 1 or 2 swings, but they filmed like 7 or 8 swings with that. All right, RPG Chick's comment continuing. I'm really curious at this point, wondering if the Bridge 4 crew are actually going to try to escape and how that will pan out. And I really want some young Shallan chapters to go along with the young Kaladin chapters. But this book remains amazing just the way it is.
Well, you're going to like the next one then.
Yeah. Though they're not as fun as Kaladin's chapters.
I never liked Kaladin's chapters. I like these ones a lot more.
I guess Kaladin's chapters actually aren't that fun for him. So never mind. They're all dead. They got sad backstories.
Right. Well, how would you like the backstories of, yep, and then me and my parents went and had a wonderful time and everything was just fine. And now here we are at today.
Yeah. At least Shallan got to go to the fair one time.
I think it's more than one time. I think she went every year.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, and she spent the entire fair working.
It's okay.
All right. And then from Words of Radiance, Interlude 5 to Chapter 38. First from J. Ramirez, 34. After this episode, I can't stop hearing Justin singing in my head, Yasna's mom has got it going on.
Oh my God, no. No. I would never sing this. That is very out of character.
Yasna, can I come over after school?
Listening to that song, it's a bad song. Like the way the tone is and everything, the pit, it's
you will never hear me say bad words about that song, but I would not sing a parody version of it.
I don't like that song. I think it's a bad song. I did like the one time though where Rick Springfield he made a combined version of his song Jesse's Girl, 8675309, and Stacy's Mom. He made a version that put all those songs together. He called it the T-shirt song. All right. And then we got a comment from Nick. And he said, in Jedi Survivor, you could unlock something that would change your lightsaber color on every swing. So I chose that. Otherwise, purple.
Whoa.
That sounds like it could freaking break me.
So I know I had said Jedi from the EU books, but I can't think of someone whose lightsaber changed on every swing. I know Corran Horn's lightsaber had 2 crystals in it, and so he's able to switch. Like he would have one that's silver, and he could switch it to also being purple. I think the purple one was a longer one, so his lightsaber could switch lengths.
Wow.
And I think a similar thing with Gantoris. His had 3 lightsabers, so his could also change length. But I don't remember what color his were. But that's the most I know.
Oh, right.
Oh, but I was just saying that's the most I know for something like that. I don't think I could think of anyone where it changed different colors every swing.
That's because that's just a game gimmick. That would be fucking stupid in an actual story.
I was gonna say,
dude, you're kicked out of the Jedi. That's way too extra. Get out of here.
How many crystals do you need? All of them.
I just want to hear a master writer, especially a master fight writer, write a fight with that gimmick in it. Like,
there's a reason they haven't, Sheta, because it's stupid.
And then from Old Called 946, Tal muttering in the wagon, and to think I hesitated. Well, you were talking about Cenobites earlier.
Yep.
All right. And then from Reader Warrior, I'll be calling dibs on the orange lightsaber, or cyan from the Cal Kestis games. So, orange, I know Lobaka's, it's like described as like a bronze or rust color, so that's close to orange, but not quite. And I don't fully remember. I think Raynar's might have been around orange. I could be very wrong on that. But one thing I do know is, before Attack of the Clones made a canon color for him, Plo Koon's lightsaber was orange before that movie, in like comics and video games. For cyan, I can't think of anything. It's kind of close to turquoise, and Tenel Ka's lightsaber was turquoise, but cyan's more blue than that. I think there might have been a character in one of the Dark Forces games that had it, but I could be wrong on that part. All right, and then from the Zahel interlude, invested is a very common term I believe you've already seen.
I believe you just said it in that last quote you said about shards. So yeah, from the Ars Arcanum.
And I think I even mentioned before, it's invested or investiture is pretty much kind of like that's magic. All right. A Cosmere character that hears voices, how much time you have?
Well, apparently a lot to read these books.
What the heck is this Zane retconning? He literally tried to assault Vin.
True love. Yeah, Sheta?
You'd only do that if you really love
Don't
somebody.
even finish that sentence, Sheta. You're going to get us in trouble.
You throw away everything in the name of love.
Mm-hmm.
It
including
wasn't
your
love. It was obsession.
identity. What is love?
Baby,
You know,
don't hurt me.
I resisted every urge to do that, Joe. Don't do that.
All right. Then from Esh and I interlude. For the whole, there would be too many people wanting too many things. And Justin's leadership argument gets the 5. The listeners are like, he puts a number. I don't remember exactly. I think they're like, he said like 37,000 people. I think it's more. I think it might be like around 100 or something like that. I don't remember what it was. And he goes on to say, for leadership at 5, that's fairly good. The United States has 535 leadership officials for a number close to 342 million. That means one official for every 637,000 people. The listeners, who are people at war, have pretty much one main focus, survivor's mandate basically, and a ratio of one leader for a group of 7,400. Though I will admit, it's probably not a perfect split of the different forms in the entire listener population.
Well, I'm not saying anything like that. I'm saying that there's a lot of different kinds of people in this world, and we don't have people who are born to be janitors leading our people. We vote in people who we feel, and often we're wrong, but we feel will be ones who will be the best leaders specifically. So I'd only want people in leader form. I don't want people in clean out the toilet form, even though that's a very useful thing that needs to be done. That's my problem with their weird political system of everyone getting a say like that.
I think they do have. I think it is the leaders. They just have each leader then choose to take the different forms to represent all the forms, but they still were leaders.
Yeah. So why wouldn't they take leader form? I don't really give a crap what slave form has to say about anything because they're slaves. I just don't care. Because if they were born in those forms and they could never leave, then I would think, okay, you want the different forms represented. But everyone can switch between forms, so everyone is all forms. So I don't see really a benefit in having people go into love form and then think based on that, when now they don't have a leader form as far as I'm aware, but I would try to discover that one before anything else. Like king form. That sounds more useful. Because that kind of person could represent all these different types of people and empathize with all of them. Where love form is just going to be like, yeah, I mean, I'm me, I'm my basic personality, but God, I just want to get fucked right now. Like, I don't need that level of distraction
Yes,
in the people
we know what
making
your
all the decisions.
is. You don't have to say again.
Yes, yes. What do you think we should do? Which one's going to get me laid fastest? Oh, God, we all saw that coming.
Them. Yeah, okay. Good
like,
session.
gee, I wonder what Fucky McFuck's gonna say over there. Now I want to see more of these meetings just to see some of that. Actually, this sounds like it could be a pretty good sitcom now that I think about it.
Yeah, that's a good bit.
All right, the next chapter 35. I always assumed Adolin was racist and didn't like having those dark eyes near him acting like they were his equal.
Probably doesn't like that either. I don't get the vibe that he's really racist, though.
I just feel like he has a problem with Kaladin.
Yeah. I can't think... And racist is a hard word to use in this culture. It's different than that. I feel it's hard... Like, being racist in a time when racism is, like, thought to be come from God and make sense is a lot different than being racist now. But even with that, I don't really get the vibe that Adolin thinks like Sadius does, where he genuinely seems to really believe strongly in that stuff.
It seems pretty normal in the sense that he does not care,
Yeah, he doesn't seem to like, he's been told this is the way it is, and he never really thought about it that much after that.
Yeah.
But, we'll have to see more. I don't know. We actually don't know all that much about Adolin's beliefs because he doesn't really talk about that very much.
And from chapter 36, I have a few broken games of Skyrim that can testify one can kill every NPC.
I couldn't. I tried to kill one guy who was driving a cart somewhere, and he just fell over. And then he got back up, and I killed him again, and he fell over. And I looked it up, and it said he was a crest critical NPC. So that's my experience with that.
Maybe it's
If
just
there's
consoles.
Yeah, I mean, it could be different releases or maybe updates. Maybe they fixed that because I hated that. But that was my experience there, and I fucking hated it. So if there's a way around that, tell me what it is, because I really wanted to kill that guy.
I just remembered one thing where, so Grand Theft Auto Vice City, back when that came out, in the instruction booklet, it talks about the city of Vice City, and it says that the population of that was 1.3 million. And then reading online, the people were, at that time, trying to do the murder challenge. See if you could kill more people in the game than the population of Vice City.
You get an achievement for doing that in Dead Rising 1.
How many people were in the population Dead Rising?
Oh, I don't remember, but it says Willamette population this. If you kill that many zombies, you get an achievement. It was more than I got sick of trying to do it. I gave up. It was at least 10,000. It may have been more.
Is that in just that run, or is that cumulative over all the times you play it?
That I have no idea.
It was cumulative, I think.
Okay. That would just make it where you just multiple gameplays, and eventually you might get it.
Oh, you mean it like that?
It was 53,594 people.
Or I like the one run I saw somebody do online where they managed to beat it while killing 0 zombies themselves. Sometimes where a zombie had to be killed, they managed to get some other people to come along and do the killing for them, but their kill count at the end of the game when they beat it was 0. All right, continue with this. Urithiru is the One Piece?
No.
Sheta, I can confirm to you, it's not the One Piece.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, oh, fuck, spoilers.
Okay. That's not what I was saying.
16 guards? Maybe they're all Mistines.
Oh, God. Should I be watching for numerology stuff? I forgot about that completely.
I wonder if Brandon has to have a team look over stuff like that just to make sure that doesn't accidentally happen. Then have
New theory. Every planet has a number to it, and if I go through, this will be filled with perfect 17s. That's my new theory.
You know what? I will tell you, each planet does have a number connected to it, but I will not tell you what numbers. And Brandon, he has I know he has a continuity person, I believe. And he also has somebody that has built him his own, I think they made him his own
database
wiki thing. Yeah, wiki database. So sometimes he can look that up or stuff like that.
That sounds useful. Shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could wind up being wrong on what I'm saying, but I believe that's what I heard is that they made their own in-house wiki for his stuff, so that way he can reference that. And he has his books. He has a lot of alpha readers and beta readers and stuff, so they go through, so they might also pick up on some of this stuff and help correct it too if they notice it.
Wow, just have to read a ton of books to get that.
Yeah. All right. Continue his comment. All dark eyes look the same anyway.
Jeez, how racist. They're not Parshendi.
All right, chapter 37. I think Sadius represents the Curtis status quo of the Alethi and how they are content with things currently, while Amaram is the worst of what they are. He's kind of like Zero from Code Geass, but we're on the side of Suzaku Dalinar, since we don't know what his greater plan is yet.
I don't know. It seemed like Sadius kind of wanted to totally change things. Take over himself and fix everything that was broken.
Also, I would say, personally, I just want to be on Zero's side. Suzaku annoyed the piss out of me in Code Geass. Team Zero all the way. Chapter 38. This chapter, and Shallan's bid on where to stay, kind of reminds me of Sereni and Elantris picking who to go to the balls with.
Oh, yeah. Is she in a harem? No. Well, yeah, she is, but it's not been activated.
Is there going to be any book where the girl is not in a harem? Now that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Warbreaker?
I thought that the older sister was.
I'm trying to think of a clever response, but I can't think of anything.
Also, maybe, yeah. I don't know.
Wait, what harem did Vivenna have?
All the guys. Tong Fa, what's his name?
Oh, God.
Basher, the zombie.
That was not a harem.
That's not a harem. Just because there are other guys around does not make it a harem.
More than one male is around, I'm in a harem. My dreams come true.
Oh no, I've been wrong all these years.
On the bus.
Right. My life is a sham.
All right, then from the theory segment, how the heck did Shallan end up as a god?
I don't even know what that one is, and I don't need you to elaborate on whatever nonsense you were talking about.
She's going to ascend, is what I was going to say. So we'll start at the harem and then until she ascends.
To the god of harems. All right, and then last little parts. Brandon is married. He could have just asked his wife. We were talking about how he was writing thirsty Shallan.
Hey,
That
not
is
every woman is
kinky.
that thirsty. So if his wife is able to say that stuff, then I am impressed with him.
Applaud you.
Yeah, nice.
Dang. Okay.
All right. And the last part. Guys, I've been holding the Renarin fans back, but I don't know how much longer I can hold the line. The Everstorm comes. It will be your doom.
I'll take it. If Renarin's going to be my downfall, I will die proudly.
So that's all our comments and everything. So for next week, we'll be reading 5 chapters, chapters 47 through 51. Yep, so everyone, go out there, read those chapters, and then once you're done,
Do a little dance. Make a little love. Get down tonight.
I approve of 2 of those, but I won't say which 2.
all right. Yep, do that. All right, and yeah, everyone, we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Sayonara.
Bye.